now I have the distinct pleasure of introducing one of our 12 by 12 members whose book, Finding Papa, we'll be reading tonight. Angela Pham Krans. This is her debut picture book. She has another picture book coming that's called Words Between Us, and another one coming in 2024. But we're here today to celebrate her debut, this amazing book, Finding Papa.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Julie and Kelly, for welcoming me tonight. So Finding Papa. So this book was illustrated by Caldecott honoree T. Bowie, who is just amazing. So you'll see her illustration shortly. Okay. Finding Papa. My favorite game to play with Papa was the crocodile chomp. When Papa went chomp, Mai would giggle and squeal. Crocodiles were scary, but Papa was not. One morning, Papa gave Mai a long hug. It was longer than usual. Papa gave Mama a big kiss. It was bigger than most. Goodbye, Papa. Goodbye, Mai. Then Mai watched Papa walk down the village dirt road. Papa always waved and smiled at the end of the road, but this time, Papa cried. Papa did not come home for dinner. He did not come home for playtime either. Chomp, Mai said to herself. By bedtime, Mai was crying. Where is Papa? Papa is finding a new home for us. Mama was crying too. They hugged each other until they fell asleep. Mai waited and waited for Papa to come home. He never arrived, but his letters did. Some were short, some were long, but Mai and Mama loved them all. I want to see Papa again, Mai said. Soon, Mai, Mama said. One night, Mama packed a small bag. Where are we going, Mama? We are going to find Papa. When it was time to leave, Mai hugged her favorite mango tree. She gave her pet chicken a big kiss. Then Mai wrapped her arms around Mama's neck and hung on her back. As Mama walked down the village dirt road, Mai glanced back at her home one last time. Goodbye, she whispered. Mama snuck quietly through the village and around the rice paddies. The trees shook their branches at Mai. The tall grass prickled her feet. Mai and Mama reached the river. As Mama waded through the water, Mai wondered if there were crocodiles nearby. Chomp. She held Mama tighter. Mai and Mama finally climbed onto a boat that was waiting for them. Mai looked for Papa, but he was not there. When Mai awoke, strangers were staring at her. She dug her face into Mama's chest. Mama, I'm scared. I'm scared too. Everyone here is looking for their families. For days, the waves pulled the boat this way. The wind pushed the boat that way. They were surrounded by water, but Mai and Mama had little to drink. At night, Mai's stomach rumbled. Chomp, Mai said as she pretended to eat the moon. Mai ached for food and for Papa.
So tell us what about the story is true and how much of it is fiction? Like how much of this little girl is you, and where did you need to modify the story in order to make it work for a picture book?
Yes, I don't remember much of the story. I was so young, but I interviewed my parents before drafting and outlining the stories. And my parents told my brothers and I the story all through our childhood growing up, bits and pieces of it. I would say the fictional parts would be the chicken. And I don't remember the goodbyes, but I do remember my dad say that day, well, the day he left was my first birthday. And he didn't know he was leaving that day, actually. It was a very last minute trip. But all the motion pieces leading up to Papa leaving is fictional. He did say goodbye. I did cry, and I didn't know why he wasn't coming home or he didn't come home. But I would say most of the story is true. So the letter that you see on the spread where he's writing letters, and there's like a picture of him and the number 11. He didn't send a picture, but he did write in his letter to my mom about where he was staying. Like we landed in a refugee camp in Singapore, and he wrote on the side of the house, on one of the houses, and a lot of people wrote notes there to their loved ones in case they ever see each other again. But he wrote a note that said, I would see you soon. I can't wait to see you. So when we landed, crazy enough, we landed in the same refugee camp, and my mom went to the house number 11 and saw his note. So that was just mind blowing to think that years later, my mom finds this note that my dad left for her. And she did give the letter to the Red Cross, who's there, and they helped connect us with the letter because it had his address. They were able to connect with him and then get us on a plane and fly
Wow.
to the US. And the trip was, my mom had to sneak out of the country on a boat in a river, and then it sailed. And it's a fishing boat. Like usually these boats are very old, rickety. We're not really sure the guy really knows what he's doing. Has a compass, no motor. A storm came. I was sick. My mom was super nauseous. The boat had been on the ocean for a couple of days, no food, no water. And then a carrier, there's a company called Ned Lloyd. It's like a logistics shipping company in Holland, came like sailed by. And because our boat was not in international waters yet, they could not do anything. So they just hung around, which is so kind. They hung around and waited till our boat just shifted and then saved us and basically threw us all into a net and pulled us up. Like I was climbing on the net, but truly all the kids were placed in a net and pulled up like we were fish because that was the only way they could get the kids up.
Wow.
Yes. So it was a very dangerous and harrowing journey for my mom. I wanted to tell the story from a child's perspective because obviously we want to share some truths of the journey and of refugees and what they go through, but more so I wanted to incorporate like the chomp game and how a child just wants to see her papa. And so she uses this chomp game throughout the whole story to help her process what she was going through at the time.
Yeah, I love that. It sets it up with this emotional bond between the two of them. And then it's interesting because we talk about refrains in picture books, and that one is a refrain, but every time it shows up, its meaning is a little different.
Right.
At first, it's this playful, and then it's waiting, like expecting him to come home, and then it's more about missing, and then in the end, it's how they reconnect. So it's a really brilliant use of that kind of device. And was the chomp game a real game that you played with your dad?
That's a great question. He didn't say chomp, but he played a crocodile game with us when we were younger, where we would all pile up on the bed and he would be just crawling on the ground. So as small children and you're huddled in the middle, you can't really see over the edge. So there's some fear around playing, but he would circle the bed and pop up and tickle us and grab us by the leg and pull us. And so we always had this game that we played with him. So I incorporate the game, but the chomp was fictional.
Yeah. Wow. The book is incredible, but the story. And so how many years had passed between when your papa left and when you
2 years.
2
2
years.
years. Yeah, I didn't recognize what he looked like because he grew a mustache, like just like the book. Like you're like, who is this dude?
Yeah.
So it really scared me. And so in real life, it took my dad a week to really get close because I would not let him come near me or my mom, but he was a smart dad. He bribed me with candy and toys and all the goodies. And so it just took me a week to be like, hey, Papa.
Right. Yeah, or maybe you're not so bad.
Yeah,
at it. Wow. I wanted to ask, was it important to you to have this particular story be the one that launches your career?
It was actually, it wasn't the first story I'd written multiple, but I was so sure this is the story that I wanted to debut. I just felt it in my heart that this was the story I wanted to tell, to share with the world. Just a little bit about myself and an ode to my parents who are just so incredibly brave for what they did, this journey, and then just coming to a new country and starting their lives over.